I was terrified.
For the guilty,
stay in your cells with your heads out of the wall.
It was horrible.
the Sebastian County, Arkansas lockup is horrifying.
I thought that I died and gone to hell.
But for the innocent,
I was already mad.
like Gail Griffin and her husband, Wendell Harvey,
I was very angry.
it is a horrific, living nightmare.
There's enough to make you crazy.
It is May 8th, 2016.
We picked up at Tooele Army Depot.
This Draper, Utah couple transports explosives for the military, and on this day, they're headed to Arkansas. At the gates of Fort Chaffee, their truck undergoes a routine search.
We found suspiciously packaged substance.
3 baggies of a white powdery substance, to be exact.
You can use it to clean your carpet. I use it to rinse my mouth. It's a good facial scrub and body scrub.
The couple, who has high security federal clearance and no criminal record, insists it's just baking soda.
We tested it 3 different times, and we got a positive conclusion each time we tested.
Positive. Each time for cocaine. Police tell the couple they are in deep trouble.
He said, you have over $300,000 in cocaine. I said, I never had 2 nickels to rub together. Are you crazy? And he said, well, I've never had 2 nickels to rub together either, but now I'm the owner of your truck.
Their truck is confiscated, the couple arrested, their bail set at $10,000, and they don't have enough money to get out.
I felt cut off from reality. I put it like that. I'm in some place that it doesn't feel like America anymore. I can't call anybody.
It was just crawling with bugs. It was unbelievably cold. It was blasting cold air. For the first 2 or 3 weeks, I just shivered. I didn't have any socks. There were lots of threats and intimidation.
After 2.5 months in jail, the state of Arkansas finally conducts a more thorough, 100% accurate laboratory test on the couple's evidence. The result, it's not cocaine.
I don't know what's wrong with those guys. I really don't. Something's wrong there, and I'm not sure what it is.
How could this happen?
We're not chemists, and we don't roll with a chemistry set in the back of a police car.
This miscarriage of justice.
I break the left ampule.
Well, because Gail and Wendell's case was constructed almost entirely on this building block, a $2 test called the Scott Reagent Field Test, a test whose science hasn't changed since the early 70s, and Arkansas police engaged it to put the couple behind bars.
They're not infallible. They are subject to misreadings.
Greg Parrish with the Arkansas Public Defender's Office says the tests are fundamentally flawed, and Gail and Wendell's case is not an anomaly.
There are many other cases out there this very same way.
And the data backs that up. In Las Vegas, authorities re-examined a sampling of field tests conducted from 2010 to 2013 and found that 33% of them had resulted in false positives. The Florida Department of Law Enforcement says 21% of evidence that they believed to be meth was, after further testing, not meth at all. More than 100,000 people a year are convicted or plead guilty to charges based on these tests, but yet they continue to be used by police in every state across the country, including right here in Utah.
We use these field test kits to give us a preliminary result.
Among them, the Utah County Sheriff's Office. We asked them to show us how the test works using drugs in their evidence locker.
That's a positive test right there.
And with this knowledge, we decided to test several household items on our own.
Yeah, start rolling.
We purchased the Nick Field Test, the one used by most every police agency in Utah, and we went to work.
Let's start with a household cleaner, Comet. Can you see that? If it's blue on the bottom and pink on top, that's a test for cocaine. And if you're a cop, I think that you would clearly say that that's positive. So now we are going to try acetaminophen. This one has blue and what appears to be a little bit of pink. I might say that's cocaine as well. Now we're going to try an antihistamine. So that is blue and pink with speckles. I almost wonder if you could say that's positive as well. That blows me away a little bit.
In all, we tested 10 household items. 4 or 40% of their test could be interpreted as positive for drugs.
I'll be honest with you, I didn't think I was going to get any positive.
We both didn't think we were going to get out at all.
Gail and Wendell are free, finally back home, but their lives have been crushed. They only recently got their truck back from Arkansas authorities, and it has severe damage. And they're struggling to get their security clearance and their jobs back.
It's put us in limbo, you know. We're just living on our savings.
In addition, they fear that this simple test that put them in jail with a snap is doing the same thing to other innocent people across the state and the country.
If they did what they did to us, you know, just to law-abiding, working people, then there's no telling, you know, how many mistakes they've made.
In a burgeoning suburb outside of Denver,
Come here, Munchkin.
Jeremy Votaw wrangles his 3 kids for the day
I gotta get dressed.
and recalls that 3 years ago, his marriage to their mother Allison died, killed by another woman.
I believe in traditional marriage.
And after 13 years of matrimony, the couple divorced.
Can we talk about Corinne?
Let's see where it goes.
She had taken my husband away. I didn't like her. I didn't like her at all.
Corinne entered the Votaw's life in 2013. She was closer to Jeremy than Allison ever imagined.
But I came home from work one day and found clothing that was female clothing that wasn't mine. And, you know, I think most women would think that must belong to some other woman. And that thought didn't cross my mind. I knew it was his.
Allison says she finally faced the difficult truth, something she had suspected for years, that Jeremy is transgender and Corinne is Jeremy's female expression.
To be quite honest, I kept from my wife before I married her.
As a boy growing up in Utah, Jeremy knew as young as 4 years old that he was different.
I wasn't really allowed to buy the books I wanted to buy.
And what would those books have been?
You know, princess stories. I knew it was so wrong, you know, to have a feminine side, that, you know, I did absolutely everything I could to not give in to that.
In those days, telling someone you're transgender was unheard of, even more so for Jeremy,
I'm good at being vice chair.
whose father is Rick Votaw, a Republican Party power broker, who is the former vice chair of the Salt Lake County Republican Party.
We have moved off the mark.
In 2010, Rick Votaw got in trouble for making disparaging comments about gay protesters at the Capitol.
My family growing up was a good Mormon household. I was told my entire life, really up until maybe 5 or 6 years ago, that this was evil.
He says he stuffed away his female side, tried to be his father's son, even ran for Salt Lake County clerk in 2010, but Corinne, he says, was always there, and so was his desperate confusion.
There were times in your life when you wanted to die.
Yeah. I figured if I was inherently evil as it was taught to me when I was young, what is the point, really, of going on?
And in 2013, he made a dramatic decision.
I said, okay, I'm going to transition for a period of a year.
And that included changing your name legally.
Changing my name, changing my gender markers, having all the things done necessary in order to live life as a woman.
And on a cold January night, Jeremy, dressed as Corinne, revealed himself for the first time to Allison.
It was a person kind of like my husband, but at the same time, it wasn't my husband. It wasn't like my husband had died and I knew that someday I'd see him again. He was gone. He was right in front of me in female form, but he was gone. I had completely lost my husband and I had no hope of ever having him again.
And with that, the marriage dissolved. He moved out and he struggled with the loss of his family and discrimination, including threats while simply trying to use a washroom in Utah.
I've been pushed, called names, derogatory names, or not allowed to use a restroom. That's definitely resulted in a couple times where I felt my life was in danger.
All the while, his LDS bishopric allowed him to keep the priesthood and attend church.
They understood that this was something I was struggling with.
Jeremy says it kept him connected to his faith. And he says after a year as Corinne, he was able to find a balance as both female and male. Most of the time as Jeremy.
Some shoes more feminine than other shoes.
And some of the time as Corinne.
You're like smiling and happy.
And over time, Jeremy and Allison reunited and remarried. A couple reborn, they say, based in new trust.
We learned, most importantly, just to be honest about it.
The only way I really can exist in this family is by adopting basically that blend of the good parts of the feminine self and the good parts of the masculine self and putting those together.
So you're a little bit of all of it, right?
Yeah.
You're a little bit feminine, you're a little bit female,
I'm a little bit rock and roll.
a little bit country.
I had a dream my life would be.
Now they are rewriting the music of their lives.
Oh, we're always down here, that's why.
It's not always perfect, but they say they are trying to find new harmony.
Are you happier now than you've ever been?
Yes, no, without a doubt.
I dream.